What's good, people? Hope everybody's well. Welcome back to the Black Masculinist News. Here to drop some daily information on you, get you thinking. Hopefully, it'll be something you will find useful as we explore what black male life tends to look like more often than not. And sometimes it just has to do with stories that I think are relevant to the black male experience, even if only in a tangential fashion. Anyway, so let's get it started. This is a piece that you can find on AtlantaBlackStar.com. It's entitled "Egregious: Michigan City to Pay 1.25 million to Family of Black Man Shot 9 times After Allegedly Stealing an Energy Drink." Right. Michigan City has agreed to a 1.25 million dollar settlement over the fatal 2015 shooting of a black man accused of stealing an energy drink. Kevin Matthews, 35, was fleeing on foot when Dearborn police officer Chris Hampton shot him 9 times. Hampton, 33, took his own life just weeks before the settlement was announced Tuesday. Matthews' family and Dearborn, a Detroit suburb, reached the settlement out of court as a result of Hampton's sudden death. Matthews' family now wants to move forward, attorney Milt Greenman told Associated Press. The shooting happened on December 23, 2015, when Hampton noticed Matthews walking by several hours after he was accused of stealing a can of Red Bull from a gas station. Matthews had fled the scene earlier, and Hampton was familiar with him because of prior similar incidents at the gas station. Matthews suffered from schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. Hampton attempted to take Matthews into custody, but Matthews fled and the officer chased him. After Matthews jumped over a fence, Hampton followed and landed on top of him. According to one account of the event offered by authorities, the officer was 6'2", 215 pounds, while Matthews was about 5'9", 140 pounds, and recovering from a broken arm. A struggle ensued, and Hampton claimed that he feared Matthews was standing over him and trying to take his gun before he shot the black man 9 times. There were no witnesses to the shooting, nor is there any footage of the encounter. Crime scene and ballistics experts hired by Matthews' family say Hampton was shooting down rather than up, since 2 bullets were found under Matthews' body and 1 was next to it. No criminal charges were filed against Hampton after Wayne County prosecutor Kim Worthy said she believed the officer acted in self-defense. Greenman called the killing egregious and said would have been filed against the officer had there been footage of the shooting. Charges would have been filed. Sorry about that. Had this been on a body camera, there's no doubt that Officer Hampton would have prosecuted, Greenman said. So as I said, you can find this in Atlanta Black Star on AtlantaBlackStar.com. Here is an image of Matthews, right? Kevin Matthews, 35 years old, right? So apparently evidence is showing that he was shot while on the ground, or at least in a down position. The officer was above him, and there happens to be, coincidentally, no body cam footage. Isn't that interesting how often that seems to happen? No body cam footage at all. Clearly, the issue here is also, I should say, that this young man was suffering from schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. So, when we talk about mental issues, they often need to be met with those who are trained to deal with these kind of situations in a manner that would address him as a human being of some sort and not just as someone to shoot arbitrarily, especially over something as simple as a Red Bull, can of Red Bull. It's absolutely ridiculous. Unfortunately, this is black male life in many parts of the country. We know that, roughly speaking, there are about 200 to 300 black males killed by police. Those are conservative estimates on a national scale. This does include vigilantes. This doesn't include lynchings or hate crimes. This happens to do just with police homicide. So that said, the only group that suffers police homicide to the rate we do tend to be Native American men. And year by year, the rates kind of go back and forth. Not the numbers, but at least the rates. So this kind of thing, it saddens me, to hear, and you can find them all over the country. It's so rampant in many ways that you actually do need websites that kind of keep up with it. The problem is those sites end up, they kind of stop doing it for a while, or they charge people to have access. Like if you go to Washington Post, they've been keeping one for a good couple of years, but then you got to get a subscription to the Washington Post in order to keep accessing it. And I'm not sure if they're still doing it. I think they at least did 2 or 3 years in a row. Prior to that, the Guardian had a really good one that they were doing. Good meaning that it was detailed and the information was easy to access, but I think they only did it for like 2015, 2016, and then they stopped, right? So it's kind of hard to do that. Hopefully we can develop a way or find a way where we can do a better tally with trustworthy information about what's going on. But again, particular to Black males, and I say so unapologetically, I think we have to become unapologetic about advocating for Black male policy. But even, when you talk about having a database on Black males who are killed arbitrarily by law enforcement, there needs to be a way we can do that without apologizing, because constantly when we do these kind of things, whether it's policy, whether it's a database, it always becomes this kind of, do for everybody, right? Lift every, this kind of rising tide lifts all boats kind of thing. And what I generally find is whenever we do that, we don't end up with, we end up with equality, not equity. In other words, we end up in a situation where, the whole point behind highlighting the quality of life of Black males gets swept under the rug, and it just becomes another venture for everybody. And that includes policy, right? We start talking about policies like the latest one in the name of George Floyd. Last I checked was going through the House. I got to follow up on it and see where it is now. I think I was talking about it about a week ago, right? And it was named after George Floyd, and it really had to do with regulating police behavior. But a lot of the language of it becomes about everybody. It becomes about, just making it as transparent as possible for all Americans. But all Americans aren't being slaughtered like this. At some point, we got to have some unapologetically Black policy, or a policy that targets in regard to protecting, or at least attempting to protect, Black males. Now, I don't want to see policies completely dismissed because they don't have the proper language, but I would like to see policies initiated with that. Of course, the argument then becomes, do conservatives dismiss the policy because it's targeting Black males for protection? That becomes a whole nother argument. So what ends up happening more often than not is we get this milquetoast policy that can be applied to anyone and everyone. And unfortunately, a lot of the time it ends up meaning that it doesn't apply to those who need it most. All right, y'all. Hope y'all are well. Hope you enjoy your day. And I hope we can figure out together what we can do. And remember, if you go to the newblackmasculinities.wordpress.com, the pinned article at the top you'll find is for the Black male political agenda. So if you have any ideas about what kinds of policy you want to see directed at Black men, right? You can go ahead and write here in the comment sections to this video. You can write a suggestion, or you can post a comment on that article on the blog website, and we can go ahead and filter it through, look at it, examine it, and if it passes muster, we can go ahead and add it to the list of proposed policies for Black men. And if you would like to get credit for your contribution, just let me know, and I will make sure your name is listed at the bottom, linking to the suggestion you made. If not, it can remain anonymous. It's entirely up to you. But support the Black male political agenda, because there is no political agenda for Black males, particularly written by Black males, but especially for Black males, that lists out what Black men are concerned about. And when we started this list last summer, it was at least 10,000 Black men involved in putting together this list, and all the suggestions, all the proposals there are coming from Black men themselves. I did not write it. I actually just created the space and asked brothers to contribute policy ideas that they thought fit. Because one of the things I noticed leading up to the Trump-Biden election in November is I noticed there was no space where I saw just a list of issues that pertain to Black males and proposals about solutions. Even when Ice Cube was talking to Vivica Fox and the rest of the ladies on that show about policies for Black America, this whole question of whether or not Black women were being properly represented was posed. But no question about whether black men were. I think we assumed, or people assumed, that because Cube wrote it, and he wrote it, in conjunction with scholars and thinkers like Claude Anderson, that black men were explicitly listed. But actually, they were trying to write it in a manner that fit Black America as a whole. But if you're going to specify for gender, then yes, let's do so. As I understand it, there have been some later contributions made in the interest of black women. Nothing wrong whatsoever with doing so for black men. So if you're interested in helping us get that out, you can shoot Cube the URL to the new Black Masculinities piece on the Black Male Political Agenda. Help us get it out, and help us get the word out to other black men to contribute to it, so we can make sure it is a central piece that during the next election cycles, even on a local level, you have policy ideas that you can look to and use in your particular locale. All right. Anyway, hope all is well. Hope you enjoy your day. Peace.